North Korea, Scott Pruitt, trade wars, and the upcoming election season. Lawmakers from Washington are in Oklahoma this week, and right now we are joined by Representative Steve Russell. Mr. Russell, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be back with you. Thank you.
We appreciate having you on. We have got a lot to talk to.
A lot going on.
Yep, so let's get straight to it. Let's talk about North Korea and South Korea. For the first time in decades, coming together. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it's good. We certainly don't want to reward bad behavior with good stuff. But at the same time, what we have seen is that there's not been a missile fired since September. We've seen great cooperation with China and the United States, Japan, South Korea. A lot of folks are really moving on this issue. Kim Jong-un has no place to go other than annihilation, and I think this realization has started to hit. The president deserves great credit for sticking to his guns in not making any concession, no pallets of cash, no funding bad behavior or any of that. That's encouraging. What will we see on the table in the negotiations? I think they will want a formal end of the war, official recognition, with the State Department and all of that, with normal exchange of embassies and the like. Okay, is there a cost to that? Well, they'll continue to be an irritant like they always are, but that's not a bad thing. 1953 armistice, yeah, it's probably time to officially declare the war over, but they hold the keys to that.
Let's turn over to Scott Pruitt,
Sure.
Former Oklahoma Attorney General, now the head of the EPA. Many people saying that he is using tax dollars in the wrong way for travel, etc., stuff like that. What do you think about this?
Well, on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, of which I'm the vice chairman of the entire committee, Trey Gowdy is the chairman. He has already sent a letter from our committee requesting certain answers to certain questions related to the travel. We want to see what the other side of the story is. You've got the press and others that have put things out, and now we want to know, okay, answer the questions. Now, Scott, as an Attorney General here, had a great reputation. He's widely respected. There's often two sides to every story. We want to see what those facts are. However, if there are things that need to be answered to, they got to be answered to.
Okay, and so right now, do you think he's giving you answers? Do you think he's giving you the facts?
He had a deadline at the end of this month, and of course we've been, the House not in Congress, or the House not in session rather. So we'll see when we get back whether or not we've got some answers.
Let's switch over to talk about President Trump.
Sure.
Now. What do you think about since he's been in office? Do you think we've seen improvement? Do you think we're going back?
Well, what we've seen in Congress is that initially, he was not really sure how to work with us, I don't think. Vice President Pence was a real help there. In the past, being a businessman, he was like, fine, you don't want my deal, I'll go to somebody else. Well, I think he realized we're the only corporation he has to work with. We're it. And so what we've seen in policies really in the last 8 months, a very good working relationship with the president, where he has a great strategic vision and ideas about how he wants to grow the economy, how he wants to secure our country. And then we've come with good policy ways to say, okay, Mr. President, here's how we could accomplish that. And we've seen a good combination of that. The tax reform was policies that Paul Ryan and Kevin Brady had been working on for years, and we got it realized. So that was a good thing. The president is moving the chains. He's making first downs. We're seeing the economy grow by a good 1% or more. Every 1% the economy grows results in $1 trillion extra dollars into the nation. Well, that's good. That's good for the country. And while we're all concerned about the debts are a reflection of how Americans live themselves. I mean, at some point, we have to quit going into debt. We can cut, but you can't only do cuts. You have to grow the economy, and the president has probably had some of the best sense of how to do that than any of his previous presidents in a long time.
Would you say that he's dividing up the Republican Party?
I don't see it. In some cases, he's kind of united us because we feel that we can get things done. Now, people can complain about him or his dealings or his tweets or all of that. Look, people have all kinds of different personalities and quirks. I may not live that way or do those things, but you also got to look at what is getting done. All right, we see our military improved. We see the strongest relationships with France that we've had in decades. We see the strongest relationship that we've had with our allies in decades. We see old enemies that were somehow being kissed and courted now put back in their place. Iran, Russia, we're starting to see, some resistance to what they're doing. They've recreated the Cold War because people were asleep here at home. And we have a president with a great security team that is keeping America safer. And we're more prosperous here at home.
So what's next for you? I mean, elections coming up?
Sure, well, there's a lot of things that we want to continue to do. I am, of course, wanting to run again. We've been able to cut several $1 billion of waste. We've been able to affect foreign policy in a very positive way. I've been encouraged by folks here at home. We've been able to bring in good jobs. Aerospace companies bring in a lot of work to the district. I would like to see Oklahoma really transition more to the aerospace as our key industry. Why? Because airplanes aren't going away anytime soon. Oil and gas is vitally important to Oklahoma, but it's also very volatile. And so when you've got layoffs of 300 or 400 at companies, and these are smart people and they can do different things, well, if you can make a high pressure valve at a machine shop for the oil field, you can also make an aircraft part. So there's a lot of things that I think we can see Oklahoma continue to grow. And I had a wonderful meeting yesterday with Mayor Holt. I had served with him in the state Senate, and we're very like-minded on where we see the area and the district. Oklahoma City is in my congressional district. He's the mayor. We have a lot of cooperation that we want to work on to try to improve the state of affairs for all of us here. And next week, we have the National Defense Authorization, a 24-hour committee meeting nonstop. It'll be interesting. We're trying to figure out where all of the priorities need to go. And directly for Oklahoma, we're concerned about the KC-46 fuel tankers that will be going into Altus and also be repaired at Tinker. So we're fighting to make sure that program stays on track with Boeing, and even Boeing here in the district employs 2,500 Oklahomans. These are important things, and I stay very tuned into all of that because it's important to Oklahoma. And then on national policy, or even international, I was recently in Niger, got out with two Special Forces teams and a SEAL team, went out to remote locations related to the ambush on 4 October where we lost 4 service members. Next week will be a classified hearing that will be presented to members of Congress. I've already read the classified report. It doesn't change my own investigation and views on it, but in the coming week or two, you'll be hearing much more about this as the families have been briefed and we learn more about that incident.
All right, Representative Russell, we appreciate you coming on. We always appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, KOCO News returns after this.